The toy car wobbled when they set it down, one wheel refusing to stay straight. Still, the twin girls placed it carefully on the sidewalk as if it were priceless. They stood shoulder to shoulder, matching braids, matching courage, whispering the same line they had practiced all morning. "Please, we're trying to help our mom." People hurried past, shoes clicking, eyes forward. A few slowed, offered a smile, then kept moving. Then a black luxury car eased to the curb, and a man used to being unseen by problems finally saw two children giving up the only thing they owned that felt like childhood. He watched from the back seat for a moment longer than necessary. The girls weren't playing, they were working. Their hands were steady, their faces serious in a way that didn't belong to their age. He stepped out, suit crisp, phone still in his hand, the noise of the street pressing in. When he asked about the toy, the girls answered together, like a single voice split in two. Their mom needed medicine. The toy car was special, but their mom mattered more. They didn't cry, they didn't beg. He explained. He knelt so he wouldn't tower over them. Asked their names, asked where they learned to be so brave. Shrugged, glancing at each other, then back at him. "We just have to," one said. The other nodded. He picked up the car, noticing the scratches, the tape holding the axle in place. He asked the price. They named a number too small to be fair. He smiled gently and offered more, much more. They hesitated, exchanging a look that carried both hope and fear. "Is that okay?" they asked, worried about rules they didn't fully understand. "It's okay," he said, and meant it. They accepted, careful with the bills, counting twice to be sure. He handed the toy back to them, telling them to keep it. Shook their heads at the same time. "Promised," they said. He respected that. As he walked away, he felt something tug at him. Not pity, responsibility. He turned back once and saw them folding the money neatly, already planning the next step. In that instant, the deal was done. He had bought a toy car, but what he carried with him was heavier, and it wasn't going to let him go. He tried to return to his day, but the image wouldn't release him. Two small figures on a crowded street, standing taller than most adults he knew. Meetings came and went, numbers filled screens, decisions were made, none of it stuck. By afternoon, he asked the driver to turn around. The city felt different now, sharper at the edges. When they reached the corner again, the twins were gone. He asked the nearby shop owner, then a street vendor who nodded toward a narrow building a few blocks away, an apartment above a shop. He walked up the stairs alone, jacket folded over his arm, rehearsing nothing. The door opened to a woman whose tiredness had settled deep, not just in her eyes but in the way she held herself upright. He introduced himself simply and explained why he was there. She listened, guarded at first, then softer as she realized he wasn't there to judge or take control. Inside, the space was modest and clean. The twins sat close to their mother, hands linked, watching him closely. He didn't talk about money. He talked about care, about doctors who could see her quickly, about choices she hadn't been given yet. He asked permission before offering help. She hesitated, pride and fear crossing her face. Then she nodded, a single tear slipping free when she realized she didn't have to carry everything alone today. Calls were made, appointments set. He kept his voice low, his presence steady. At the clinic, the twins waited quietly, feet swinging, eyes following every movement. When the doctor spoke, the mother's shoulders eased for the first time in weeks. A plan. Path forward. Time, finally, on their side. As they left, one twin tugged his sleeve and asked if the toy car was okay. He smiled and said it was doing its job perfectly. Laughed, a small sound, but it changed the room. On the ride back, he watched the city pass and understood something he hadn't before. Influence wasn't about speed or scale. It was about showing up twice. And he had no intention of making this the last time. The weeks that followed moved at a gentler pace. It always does. Their mother regained strength day by day, color returning to her face, laughter finding its way back into the apartment. The twins returned to school, backpacks a little too big, smiles a little brighter. The toy car sat on a shelf by the window, no longer for sale, its loose wheel taped carefully, a reminder of the day they chose love over comfort. He visited quietly, never announced, never staying long. He helped arrange stability, not spectacle, better schedule, reliable care, opportunities that didn't vanish overnight. The girls showed him their homework, their drawings, their small victories. He listened like each one mattered, because they did. He noticed how the mother stood taller now, how gratitude had turned into confidence, and how dignity had been preserved every step of the way. One afternoon, the twins handed him a picture they had drawn. 3 figures holding hands under a bright sun. No fancy details, no names, just togetherness. He felt his throat tighten. For years, he had built companies and led teams, believing progress was measured in growth charts and headlines. Sitting there, he understood a different metric entirely. Their lives changed, not because someone rescued them, but because someone paid attention and kept paying attention. Or stayed open. He loosened its grip. Possibility became routine. And his life changed too. He began stopping more often, listening longer, asking better questions. The toy car never left the shelf. It didn't need to. It had already done its work. It turned a passing glance into a promise kept. And sometimes, that's all it takes for forever to begin.